In the New Testament, Jesus taught us to love our neighbors as ourselves. So what would Jesus say about the importance of self-control? What would he say to someone who doesn't have any self-control at all? Or how does one develop self-control according to Jesus? Is it even possible to do that? And if so, how do we do it? We'll answer these questions today on air. If you have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing. It helps in promoting more of this type of content. Also, before we start, as a thank you for your support, every Friday we are posting a podcast, the best of the week in audio format, which you can listen to in your car or while doing something else. Here's the link to subscribe. Self-control, also called self-discipline or self-mastery, has been a topic of great interest among philosophers and theologians throughout history. If you look at the most successful people in the world, business people, athletes, actors, musicians, you will find one common denominator among them. They have a great level of It is generally believed that people with good self-control tend to be more successful than those without it. But what exactly does the Bible teach us about self? And how can Christians practice self-control in their daily lives? Let's explore this topic further. The Bible contains many verses that speak about self-control and its importance in our lives as Christians. In this passage from Colossians chapter 3 verses 5, therefore, put to death what is earthly in you: sexual immorality, impurity, and passion, evil desire and covetousness, which is idolatry. The word put to death here implies the idea of killing something. So Paul is saying that we need to kill the flesh, our sinful nature. This can only be done through self. Another important passage is James 4-7. Therefore, submit yourselves, therefore, to God. Resist the devil and he will flee. Make no mistake, the enemy will attack you and try to make you sin. Only through self-control can you resist him. You may ask yourself, where does self-control come from? How do I develop it? And how can I maintain it? Self-control comes from God. We need to ask God to help us develop self. And once we have developed it, then we must exercise it every day. In the book of Proverbs, there is an interesting comparison between a person with self-control and a person who lacks it. Proverbs 25:28. A person without self-control is like a city broken into and left without a guard. People with self-control are like a city fortified and set at ease. Again, here we see the connection between self-control and safety. A person with self-control is safe, both spiritually and emotionally, because they can control themselves and their reactions. On the other hand, a person who lacks self-control is like a city under attack, vulnerable and exposed to harm. So how can we apply these biblical teachings to our lives today? There are some practical tips that we can follow to develop and maintain self. Before giving them, let me quote from the writings of Epictetus, a former slave-turned philosopher. He was one of the founders of Stoicism, which had a big influence on the development of Christian theology and ethics. Self-control is the chief task of those who aspire to happiness. So the first tip is to be aware of your thoughts and emotions. The first step towards developing self-control is becoming aware of our thoughts and emotions and how they affect our behavior. We need to recognize that we have the power to choose how we react to different situations and that our choices can either lead us closer to God or farther away from Him. To become more aware of our thoughts and emotions, we can practice mindfulness, which means paying attention to the present moment without judgment. We can also journal to better understand ourselves and identify patterns in our thinking and behavior. The second tip is to set clear goals and boundaries. When we set clear goals and boundaries, we are essentially creating a plan of action that will help us stay on track and avoid distractions. We need to identify what we want to achieve and what we are willing to sacrifice to get there. For example, if we want to improve our relationship with God, we might set a goal to read the Bible more or pray daily. Once we have established our goals, we must be firm and consistent in following through with them. We may face temptation or challenges along the way, but by setting clear expectations and sticking to our plan, we can increase our chances of success. The third tip is to cultivate self-awareness. Is the ability to recognize our strengths and weaknesses, as well as our emotions and how they affect our behavior. When we are self-aware, we can better understand why we do what we do and the impact of our actions on ourselves and others. To cultivate self-awareness, we can seek feedback from others and take personality or behavior tests. We can also engage in activities that require us to reflect on our values and beliefs, such as meditation or prayer. By becoming more self-aware, we can better understand ourselves and make more intentional choices that align with our goals and values. The fourth tip is to practice gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful tool that can help us focus on the positive aspects of our lives and reduce feelings of envy or resentment towards others. When we are grateful, we are less likely to compare ourselves to others and more likely to appreciate what we have. To practice gratitude, we can keep a daily gratitude journal, write thank you notes, or simply take time each day to reflect on the things we are grateful for. By cultivating gratitude, we can shift our mindset from one of lack to one of abundance, which can lead to greater self-control and satisfaction with our lives. The fifth tip is to seek support when needed. Seeking support is crucial for maintaining self-control because it allows us to lean on others during difficult times and avoid making impulsive decisions out of frustration or exhaustion. Support can come from friends, family members, mentors, or even therapists. By building a strong support system, we can better manage stress and maintain self-control even in challenging situations. We should not be afraid to ask for help when we need it, because doing so shows strength in self. Let's now return to the question from the beginning of the video. What would Jesus say about self? Jesus spoke often about the importance of self-control and its role in living a righteous life. He taught his disciples to resist temptation and overcome their sinful desires. In the famous Sermon on the Mount, he said, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled." This verse shows that Jesus understood the struggle between good and evil, and that he recognized the importance of striving for righteousness. He also taught the importance of self-control, when he told his followers to take the speck out of their own eye before addressing the speck in someone else's. By doing this, they would be able to see themselves and others more clearly and treat them accordingly. Jesus also taught by example. He resisted the devil in the wilderness and overcame temptation through prayer and reliance on God. He showed his disciples how to maintain self-control by setting aside time for prayer and fasting. In conclusion, self-control is essential for living a righteous and fulfilling life as a Christian. By following the tips we have discussed, such as being aware of our thoughts and emotions, setting clear goals and boundaries, cultivating self-awareness, practicing gratitude, and seeking support when needed, we can develop and maintain self-control in our daily lives. Remember that self-control is a gift from God that we must ask for and exercise daily. By doing so, we will be able to resist temptation, overcome our sinful desires, and live a life that brings honor and glory to God. Now let us look at some of the comments from previous videos, and let us answer the questions they have asked. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, and check out the podcast The Best of the Week in audio format. You can listen to it while doing something else. Here is the link to subscribe. Also, a new video is posted every Friday. Until next time, please take care.